Our next guest goes to extreme measures to spread an important message. Adopt, don't shop, something we say around here all the time. When we say extreme, we mean pretty extreme. Take a look at this.
Hey guys, my name is Kris Rotonda with Jordan's Way Charities. It is time to inspire change. Will you join me? July 14th to the 23rd, we're going to be in Central Park, New York, dragging a 250-pound tire 100 miles over 10 days to raise money for 113 animal shelters throughout the entire United States of America. It's about showing the world that someone's brave enough to put their own health on the line to make a difference with all these shelters.
Man, oh man, welcome the founder of Jordan's Way Charities, Kris Rotonda, and of course our very own Larissa. Welcome, guys. Kris, you're amazing, very strong guy. But here's the thing, using that strength, that awareness to obviously, using that strength to build awareness for a very important cause. I mean, obviously helping thousands of shelters in doing so as well. But it all started with one sweet little Jordan. Tell us about Jordan.
I got Jordan back in 2008. We grew together. I moved from Jersey to Florida. I finished college because of her. I was inspired to be an entrepreneur because of her. And when I lost her, it's one of the worst things that I ever went through.
And Jordan was the dog that you rescued out of a shelter, correct?
Yes, she was there for about the first 3 years of her life. She was there.
You sort of transformed that loss, that feeling of loss, into something pretty magical. So that was really what sort of propelled you into this sort of whole meaning that you're doing.
Absolutely. It built a fire inside me that hasn't been even close to going out.
Oh.
Yeah, good for you.
And then I know Jordan passed away, and that's kind of when you made a promise. What was the promise for her?
The promise was, I was going to let, because she was in a shelter for 3 years, I was going to let the unnoticed be noticed, basically. The dogs that have been there for such a long time, I wanted them to be noticed.
Good for you. You're doing just that.
When you started kind of after Jordan passed away, unfortunately, and you started going into the shelters, did you realize how much work was needed?
No, honestly, I thought you just went there. I thought they just rescued dogs and they adopted them out. I didn't realize how much work was inside those shelters, how selfless those people are that work inside of shelters. It's a whole different environment.
And also how much money these shelters need. And I got to say, until, Larissa really enlightened me, I sort of thought most of them would be government funded, but that's not the case.
No, absolutely not. They do this out of the goodness of their hearts. So like for me, when I see that they're underfunded, I'm like, someone's got to step up and help.
Yeah, and I think people easily make the assumption that shelter workers are the bad guys because of what goes on in shelters, and unfortunately they're just kind of cleaning up the mess that's left behind.
Interesting.
And it's a different way to shift your perspective, but it definitely gives you a little bit more compassion, and I'm so glad you're bringing awareness to them as well. Now, you said when you wanted to make a difference, one of your mottos is, if you're going to make a difference, do it in a way nobody has ever done it. And that's definitely something you do. You did the 100-mile tire, you do the ice buckets to the face, the pies in the face, all of it. I mean, you go above and beyond. What has the reaction been like from viewers and followers of yours and the shelters?
They see this guy doing these crazy things like these push-ups and these ice buckets, and I'm very outspoken. You see me on Facebook Live doing a lot of different things. So like I'm very outspoken, and they notice that, and I think that the response has been overwhelming. We've raised a ton of money for shelters and influenced a ton of adoptions too. Yeah,
you're doing amazing work. You alluded to the Facebook Live and obviously some of these challenges. You're just about to kick off a 50-state shelter tour, doing just that, going Facebook Live for that individual shelter, raising money for that shelter, doing some pretty out-of-the-box things. But not only that, it's like Kris isn't just sitting around thinking about these. He's allowing us, people that are on the Facebook Live with you, watching you, to kind of direct you, say, I'll tell you what, 250 push-ups, and I'll match that with a $250 contribution. Is that the idea?
Yeah, I mean, it's one great thing about Facebook Live is you get to interact with the people. Like, it's not just posting and putting a pre-recorded video up and then you respond to the comments after. Yeah. This is real time. So people are like, all right, I'll donate another 5, somebody match me, or I'll donate another 10 if Kris does this. So it's like there's all these challenges that come out, and I don't really say no to much. So
have you ever said no to anything?
It was shirtless jumping jacks.
Oh, well, that gets a little weird.
But I think, when you do these Facebook Lives, you go live for about an hour to 4 hours.
Sure.
And you end up making how much money for these shelters?
The most, we just did the most in Mississippi was $7,200 in 4 hours.
Amazing.
I mean, that is incredible. $7,200 in 4 hours.
Just a few ice buckets over the head, a few pies to the face, and probably 1,000 push-ups, and you're there. You go.
I would reword the few ice buckets.
How many at one time? How many in one chunk do you think you've taken?
It's usually for every $100 I'll take an ice bucket.
Every $100 you take an ice bucket.
Start to hurt after a while.
I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing work that you're doing. But honestly, using that, and like Larissa was alluding to, it's such a unique way. Obviously, Kris doing these things doesn't really mean much on one perspective, but another perspective, it's getting eyeballs, right? It's getting eyeballs, it's raising awareness, it's raising money. And people are really connecting to this. Would you say, Kris?
Oh, absolutely. I think every time I come off a feed, they're always just like, it takes like 6 weeks of prep, we have to rent out a place just to do an event that comes close to that kind of money. You do it in 4 hours, and people are responding to it. And I think it's because of the real time. I really do, because it's real time. People are, coming in, and I'm talking to everybody.
Yeah.
Like when I'm talking to you, it's making it feel very personal. Like, people are engaging with that. They're sharing. We have thousands and thousands of views on our videos, so the response has been like overwhelming, like I said.
What have the shelter workers said to you that's really hit you in the heart? Because a lot of people don't realize how much work they put in.
I think a lot of them, for one, there is no 9 to 5. Like, these people are coming in middle of the night if they have to rescue an animal, if there's an emergency. Like, I always say when they rescue an animal, there's not a financial forecast in their collar. You have no idea what it's going to cost to rehabilitate that dog and bring it back out to be adopted. So, what they tell me is always heart-wrenching. Like, there's so many things from the underfunded, it's a rotating door. Like, not a lot of people can deal with the work there. So it's like they're always trying to hire people, bring people in, get new volunteers. It's a very, it's a hard industry to be in.
Kris, go ahead, get into push-up position right now. However many push-ups you do as I count this outro, I'm gonna 10 times it, and I'll donate it to whatever shelter you choose. All right, ready? Go ahead. Let's go.
Okay,
Go ahead. Go drop it right now.
Okay, all right.
All right. Start right here.
I never. Oh, we're right here.
Yeah, go ahead. Drop it, and then we'll just count. Somebody count, and I'll have to multiply by 10, and I will donate to you the shelter of your choice.
Who's ready to count? Because I got to hear the count.
I'm counting.
Dude, you're killing time. This could be push-ups right here. Here we go. To find out more, I better speak fast, about Kris and Jordan's Way Charities, go to hallmarkchannel.com or jordanswaycharities.com. Kris, you're amazing. Look at that.
23.
23. There you go. Boom. That's happening, man. Good job.